woman with us tonight who became an important part of Jewish National Fund and joined our Sapphire Society, which are women that given to JNF $5,000. They do not know that they're receiving this beautiful sapphire pin tonight. So, Erin.
Thank you so much.
Erin was. And Erin was the one who decided that 36,000 wasn't enough, high enough for the sponsorship levels. She came up with the Sapphire level. So now you have your very own Sapphire level.
Amazing, thank you.
With lots of love from Steve. And Paula Glazer. See, I'm so glad I'm a woman and I can say that we have beautiful women without danger of being inappropriate.
Thank you.
One for you.
Thank you. That's so beautiful.
So give a round of applause to these two outstanding women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice, big smiles. Round to the left a little. Come closer. Couple pitches. Couple more.
Well, thank you all for coming. It's a great crowd, and it's just such a pleasure to see everyone. So many faces from past, present, and it's just I'm overwhelmed by seeing all my colleagues, my friends, and people that I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with for so long. Thank you so much for coming. But I know you're not here to hear me anyway. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say that I appreciate and we appreciate your incredible generosity. Our deepest thank you. Sorry. Okay. All right. I just want to thank our deepest thank you to our extraordinary sponsors for making this event such a great success. Why not? Why not? I will later ask our fellow co-chairs to join me on stage after my introduction, but now I want to express our heartfelt thanks to their hard work and commitment to bring this tree to life. So my much, much better half, Jackie. Erin Miller, unbelievable job and what a great person. Gina Clark. Paula and Bill Glazer. Andrea and Rich Gottlieb. Joe Wolfson and Ellen Holtzman, and Rob and Caroline Zaritsky. I'd also like to recognize our amazing PA, Eastern PA, I suppose not all of PA, Board of Directors, and our Executive Committee, who, as Russell Robinson says, pay for the privilege to apply their immense skills, talents, and considerable time in supporting the JNF mission. Russell Robinson, I think he's there somewhere, yeah. For those of you who haven't met him, is the esteemed CEO of the JNF, recognized by the Jerusalem Post as one of the 40 most influential Jewish leaders. Thank you, Russell, for joining us. And in advance for inspiring us with what I'm sure will be some of your moving anecdotes. Thank you, Lior Zomer, our JNF National Campaign Director, and Gail Nori, the chairperson of the Jewish Federation, for being here. I'd also like to acknowledge many of our future JNF leaders, or the JNF futures, for joining us and for offering the JNF a bright succession plan and Israel an optimistic future. I might just add that our region has the most robust JNF future group of all the regions in the United States. And to the two most outstanding JNF professionals anybody could hope to work with every day, who pour their souls into their work to ensure things run smoothly, as well as being the most outstanding fundraisers of us all. Marina Furman and Samantha Van Adelsberg. Truly, none of this is possible without you. So Jackie and I moved to Philadelphia around 10 years ago, and it wasn't long after that we were drawn into this wonderful JNF family by the genuine passion that they radiated about improving the lives of all Israelis. I've never seen such an enthusiastic group of well-intentioned people, each being captivated by JNF's noble purpose. Many of you have heard the usual comments about the JNF being associated with the famous tzedakah or charity boxes and the commitment to planting trees. You will hear that what makes JNF different is their immersion into Israeli society, to literally partner with the communities and help them develop the infrastructure and create programs to improve their way of life. It's not just about the trees. Our leaders will share either in person or on video about the JNF and the remarkable and diverse causes they affect throughout Israel and beyond their borders. As per Steve's wishes, and where his passion lies, the money raised from this Tree of Life event will be allocated to the following JNF programs. The Arava Institute, that brings together Israeli, Palestinian, and Jordanian students to study and address common problems relating to water usage, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy. The ICUT initiative, that educates farmers from third world countries, from Africa to Asia, on ecological preservation and expansion. JNF's special needs programs, and more recently added, Ukrainian relief and JNF operations on the borders of Ukraine to assist in resettlement into Israel. Jackie and I were drawn into the warm JNF embrace through the Housing Fund, an amazing example of how the JNF finds ways in which to partner with local groups to develop and grow communities in underdeveloped areas of the country, such as the Negev, the Israeli desert region, which David Ben-Gurion famously said was where Israel's future lay. We were attracted to the program because of their inclusive approach. It's one thing to make a contribution to a project and receive updates on progress. Visiting the site and having hands-on influence on the projects adds another dimension to the experience. And the beauty is that we get to go back and witness firsthand the impact that we are making. I've had the good fortune to know Steve both from a personal and professional perspective. You may think that because we sound similar when we speak, and if you haven't heard him speak, you'll notice what I'm talking about, we knew each other in another hemisphere. However, that would be a false assumption, because we didn't officially meet until we arrived in Dallas around 30 years ago. We concur that we may have been introduced at my sister's wedding when he attended as my cousin's guest, and I actually did visit him, his home in Johannesburg. However, that was to pick up his sister for a date, and I don't remember him being there to give me the once-over before I could meet her. In a time of turmoil in the world and the human misery that ensues, it is heartening to be reminded of the good in humanity, which we are here to celebrate this evening. It is really no coincidence that we find ourselves together to recognize both Steve Carlos for the philanthropy and generosity he has imbued in his lifetime for our communities and for the people of Israel, and to the JNF, who have positively influenced almost every aspect of Israeli life. Many of us cherish Steve as a loyal friend and colleague who is abundantly generous with his time and kindness, as well as being a loving and supportive father to 3 awesome, compassionate, and devoted children, 2 of whom we will hear from later. In short, Steve gives meaning to the term mensch. Steve's professional reputation is also well known as being a spectacularly successful businessman, having risen to the role of the chairman, president, and CEO of AmerisourceBergen, the largest company in Pennsylvania that is currently ranked 10th on the Fortune 500 list of the largest companies in the United States, and having grown the company value by over 500% over the last 10 years since he assumed the role of CEO. Don't you wish you invested in ABC in 2012? However, when I think of Steve, I am reminded of the words, life is not just about what you achieve. It's about who you are and how you live. What many of you may not be as familiar with is Steve's commitment to Tikkun Olam, a Jew's pledge to making the world a better place, or literally translated as repairing the world. Steve has this habit of ascribing credit to others for his own accomplishments, and then wanting to share the subsequent rewards more broadly. I remember the time Steve personally benefiting from an early acquisition and found ways in which to share in his good fortune with his colleagues and the supporting community at large. Steve often expressed that he had a responsibility to his staff and their respective families' well-being, and followed through on his convictions by forming the Associate Assistance Fund at AmerisourceBergen to support team members experiencing financial distress due to events outside of their control. It was not long after Steve became CEO that he established and personally seeded the AmerisourceBergen Foundation, a philanthropic organization that supports health-related causes by disbursing over $10 million a year to enrich the global patient community. Steve is the founding vice chairman of the American Cancer Society's CEOs Against Cancer and serves on the board of governors for the American Red Cross. Steve has always been faithful to Israel and to his Jewish roots. I fondly remember joining in the celebration of both his girls' bat mitzvahs at Masada near the Dead Sea, and again northern Israel by the Sea of Galilee. Jordan, yours too provided great memories in Dallas, the other Mecca. As we witness this evening, Steve's altruism extends as well to providing aid and support to Israel. In addition to being recognized by the AJC, the American Jewish Committee, for their Global Citizenship Award, and being conferred the Americanism Award by the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, Steve took a personal interest in Israeli patient care after a high school friend reached out from across the Mediterranean to ask for his help in funding the much-needed expansion of the ICU ward at the Meir Medical Center. It is the seventh largest hospital complex in Israel, situated near Kfar Saba, which is in the central part of Israel. It's about 3 miles west of an Arab village and about 20 miles north of Tel Aviv, and serves a population of almost 1 million Arabs and Jews. Steve saw this as an opportunity to extend his benevolence to Israel. And as chair of the American Friends of the Meir Medical Center, he and his family began visiting the region often to provide on-site aid and funding as the hospital continues to expand to support the growing population of central Israel. Steve commented after visiting, "For me, personally, it was most exciting to see the footprint of the new ICU that we have worked hard to help update and modernize. It was explained to us that potentially thousands of lives could be saved in the future." Steve and his family continued to fund further construction. Steve has never declined a JNF request to contribute to our many worthy causes. We've held numerous Tree of Life events in our region over the years. And the true tribute to Steve for the many lives he has touched and to the considerable impact he has made in this world, this Tree of Life event has produced a record-breaking response in sponsorships. This evokes the saying, "What we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. What we have done for others and the world remains and is immortal." I feel so privileged to be the one standing here today and introducing the program to honor and thank Steve, my dear friend, my colleague, and a fellow member of our JNF chapter. And now, please welcome to the stage Marina Furman and Samantha Van Adelsberg for a short presentation.
Thank you so much. Dale Danilewicz, the Eastern PA Board President. Thank you for your remarks. Good evening. It's so wonderful to see you all in person and not on Zoom. My name may look familiar. I'm the girl who's been emailing you about this event for the last several weeks. And it's so nice to see you all in person, so thank you for being here. As a young fundraiser, it's such a privilege to be able to work with the incredible co-workers. Well, they feel like co-workers. That was a Freudian slip, but they're co-chairs for this event. And we're going to call you all up by name in just a moment. But I've never worked with such wonderfully dedicated and positive people before. So thank you so much. And again, I'm going to call you all up by name. We have a little gift for you all, myself and Marina, who will share some remarks in a moment. So when you hear your name, if you don't mind joining us on stage, that would be Gina Clark, Jackie and Dale Danilewicz, Paula and Bill Glazer, Andrea and Rich Gottlieb, Aaron Miller, Ellen Holtzman and Joe Wolfson, and Caroline and Rob Zaritsky, if you would join us, please. And actually, while everyone is joining us, I'm just going to give another shout out to our JNF Future members. And they are the young professionals that, like you all, support the JNF mission. And they're right over there and also scattered around and helping to bring down the average age in this room. So shout out to the JNF Future Philadelphia chapter. And Marina is now going to share some remarks.
don't be scared, it's not remarks, just a thank you. But I just want to say, I think this award ceremony so far is going a lot better than Oscars, don't you think? Planning big in-person event during pandemic is not an easy task, and we could never would be able to do it without commitment of Steve and this incredible, and may I say, very good-looking group of people here. And a few months ago, we started thinking, how are we going to thank them? What are we going to say? What are we going to give them? Sam wanted to give them gift card to a hot disco club. I wanted to give them warm blanket. But as bombs started falling on cities across Ukraine and the terrorist attack started happening in Israel, we realized that the most simple, symbolic, and meaningful gift we could give to them is a mezuzah. But not any mezuzah. This mezuzah, which is put on the door of every Jewish household in the hope that God will watch over us and protect us. This mezuzah was made from the wood burned by balloons thrown from Gaza and filled with explosive. They ruin life, they ruin crops of the farmers, they bring fear. But as Jewish people throughout our history, and Israel throughout its history, we always turn tragedy and destruction into something very positive. So this artist, who bears the same name, Zev, as my grandson, has a company called Wood of Hope. And from burned trees to your doors of amazing people who made this evening possible, and with my hope and blessing that God will always protect your homes and lives and love that live in it. Thank you.
If I could trouble everyone to please rise, we're going to sing the national anthem, and we'd love to hear all your voices as well. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you for remaining standing as we sing Hatikva together. kolot maleva benima nefesh yehudi homia ufate mizra hadima ain letzion Sophia on a low advantic matenu atikva bashnot habayim liotam chofshi be'artzenu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim liotam chofshi be'artzenu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim.
Please welcome to the stage the CEO of Jewish National Fund USA, Russell Robinson.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much for honoring us to allow you to be honored tonight and to do so much good around the world. Dale, thank you for your leadership, all of you for being here tonight. Earlier today, there was a terrorist attack in Tel Aviv. 2 young people enjoying the beginning of their weekend were killed, which made 13 just from the past weeks. 13 people, mother, child, brother, sister, aunt, uncle. And as these terrorist attacks happen from people with hate, you sometimes have to ask, is it worth the price? But then the reality of the world hits you at home and you understand that the price is well worth it. In Ukraine, we see every day on the news and read the destruction that is going on to a people. And while mothers and children primarily are streaming out of the country, there is one nation, a country that wasn't there 74 years ago. There is one nation that has delivered as much food and aid as any other nation in the entire world, and that's a country called Israel. There is one nation that has opened up a hospital, not just for the Jews coming out of Ukraine, but everyone who is needy coming out of Ukraine. And there is one nation that has volunteers, not just organizations, volunteers coming up to the borders, meeting people, serving food. And that is a nation called Israel. And I want to tell you about those volunteers because of the volunteers that work with the Jewish National Fund every day. They're young people who are leaving their jobs on their vacation time to going to Poland, to going to Hungary for 2 weeks at a time. Young people that are sitting in communities that are struggling every day to make their living, that are struggling every day to make ends meet, but they're taking their 2 weeks and going up and meeting these people and pushing the wheelchairs or feeding them And there's one nation in Israel that in the north and south of Israel, you can go to a place in the Arava as far south as you could imagine. For those who haven't been, go. It's the middle of the desert. But there are 75 families from Ukraine, families with children that are housed in people's homes. And in a week, they're going to be celebrating Passover together, not with the same language, not even with the same customs, but with the same love and the same heart, the same devotion to mankind, to building a better world. That is what the Jewish National Fund is about. That's what you're giving to today, to the causes that you talked about, Dale. But it's really greater than that. It's a cause, it's worth the price. It's worth the price that Israel today is the #1 nation in the world in reuse water. 20 years ago, Israel was facing a catastrophe. It was out of water. It had no choice. And the Jewish National Fund, together with people sitting in rooms like this, committed to water. And today, Israel reuses almost 90% of its water. The country next to it is Spain at 27%. But the story is not just an Israel story of a drop of life. It's a story that Israel is now exporting that technology throughout the world. It is a project that we're working on at Jewish National Fund called the Joint Institute that is bringing together the Arava Institute, that's bringing together a group of students, 1,500 of them, that come from Southeast Asia and Africa, students that come from nations that don't even have diplomatic relationships with Israel, who are learning about agriculture and agriculture. They're learning about our water technologies to take it home to Cambodia and to Vietnam and to Kenya, to bring food onto the plate of their family. They're learning about how a drop of water can be reused to create a change in their community, not from starvation, but for an opportunity. Is it worth the price? It's worth the price. Is it worth the price in this northern part of Israel that the Jewish National Fund is creating a culinary institute? It's going to be the finest one in the entire Middle East. It's in a community that borders on with Syria and Lebanon. That everybody will only talk about the 100,000 missiles that are pointed at Israel from an enemy that wants to annihilate it. And we're building a culinary institute? Yes. And a food technology institute? Yes. And new housing sites and a medical center. And when our enemy looks at us, the fear in their eyes will not be because of our arms, which is the greatest military defense force anywhere. The great fear that they will see is that we're building life, that we're creating change, that we're bringing opportunity. They can have a missile, and we keep building a house. And we keep creating new young people that are going to change our world. Like our JNF future, the fastest growing part of our donor demographic is our 22 to 40-year-olds at Jewish National Fund. Those are the young people that are going to be in these rooms, that are going to keep making the change in the world and not talk hate, but talk love and making a difference. Is it worth the price? It's worth the price to see our young teenagers that are in Israel at a program called Alexander Muss High School in Israel. You want to go to Israel, go and visit all the sites, but come to our school for just a couple hours and talk to a 16-year-old about dreams, hopes, about changing the world, about making the world a better place. And that's the investment the Jewish National Fund does every day. It's not for today, but 25 and 100 years from now. We will be strong. We will be there while hate can kill our children. Our love for the world will change the world and will develop a nation still under creation. You talked about your bar mitzvah, Dale, about the bar mitzvah Steve's family had on Masada. When you go to Masada, a place that 2,000 years ago, the people there thought it was the end of our Jewish nation. A place in which there was fragments of a Torah, the 5 books of Moses were found. Fragments that were found from a people who thought it was the end of our people. In that exact spot, we have a scribe who's writing a Torah every day on top of Masada. And I had the opportunity to carry a Torah down and singing with a group of Ethiopians who came from a different culture, a different time. And we danced down Masada. And we danced into their synagogue. And we held it high. And we sang about life and about peace. Is it worth the price? I'm Yisrael Chai. Thank you for being part of tomorrow.
Please welcome to the stage Michaela Collis and Jordan Collis.
Hi. Ooh, there's a lot of people here. How's everyone doing? I was just gonna say, it's so easy to think of your dad as just like a normal guy, and then something like this happens, and you're like he's just the person who made me pancakes every weekend and read me Harry Potter every night before I went to sleep. And then you're reminded just how remarkable he is, and it's amazing. It really is. I'm super proud of you. Sorry. So, all that to say, my dad always raised us with the Jewish values of kavod, respect, tzedek, justice, and of course, chesed, caring. They're the same values that his parents, my beloved granny and grandpa, raised him with, and their grandparents before them too. So we stand here today as a direct continuation of these values instilled by my dad and by my grandparents and by all of our ancestors before us. It's such a privilege and an honor to see our father being acknowledged for his contributions to this community.
We are proud to support the JNF and their efforts to serve our community and the world at large.
Especially with these amazing organizations that my dad has chosen, and now that he has broken this record, it is just absolutely an unbelievable honor to be standing here before you today. And we are so proud and excited to welcome him and honor him this evening. Let's have one more round of applause. I think it's time.
Especially proud of you, Nick. Must I speak now? So I know Michaela's always a charmer. I am so proud of Jordan. A, because he's getting married next month, but but B, because I don't know if he ever spoke in public before, and I'm very, very proud of you. You did. His bar mitzvah and his graduation and a few things, but thank you, and for you to talk about my grandparents and your grandparents. It's especially wonderful, and of course we have a saying in Judaism, "Lador vador," and that really makes me proud because at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. We want to make society better. We want to make our kids better. I'm not going to use these remarks. Gina is laughing at me because this is always what happens. But they did fortress me and inspire me. They outstanding remarks. But how could I do better than Russell, who was remarkable? Dale, you're an incredible friend. If you weren't married to Jackie, and I didn't love my brother-in-law Saul so much, you would have been a good second choice. you and your family, but a mixture of the Collis and Dana Levitt's kids would have been interesting. So we'll see. But thank you so much. Dale, I did make a commitment to you that I would accept an award from JNF and also join the board of JNF before the end of your term as president. So I assume that the mission is accomplished, promise is delivered, and you're an incredible friend, and you're a great colleague, and your words meant the world to me. So thank you so much. We all went through a difficult period. It's amazing how easy it is to slip back into this, how great it is to see everybody. I hope you tried the peri-peri chicken and the biltong. I was loving that, but I must say I'm also very partial to the pastrami and the brisket and everything. So it was wonderful to be here. I am honestly humbled by the support of this community. There's been so many of my friends who immediately supported this event. And I have to say, Aaron, for somebody from Dayton, Ohio, you sure showed all of us how to raise money. I can tell you, wherever we were, anywhere in America, and a lot of you know we get around, we go to a lot of places, she raised money. If we went to a restaurant often and they knew me, she was asking them for money. The places where we've bought homes around the country, she got all of the developers to give. She's been quite remarkable, and thank you. You really deserve your Sapphire Award. She also told Marina, why stop at 36,000? And I don't know the Klein family, but I want to thank them for being the first $50,000 donor, which was a Sapphire donor. And hearing Marina talk about the Ukraine, I called her up immediately and I said, Marina, what can we do? We want to increase our gift. If you will add the Ukrainian refugees to our causes, we want to increase our gift to match the Kleins. And I think that was a great honor. And I thank so many of you who I think dug a little bit deeper so you can help with the terrible tragedy that is going on. So I'm not going to speak for long, but I'll tell you a couple of memories from my childhood. In 1967, there was a Six-Day War. In 1968, my parents went to Israel. We didn't have TV as kids in South Africa. I actually think it may be one of the blessings of my life. But we had slideshows. And my father would pull out his Kodak slides, and we used to watch slides of them swimming in the Dead Sea, slides of them going to the Wailing Wall, slides of them in the Sinai. And shouldn't have given that back. But my dad and mom were Zionists. South Africans maybe weren't ever sure that our children would be able to be raised in South Africa or our grandchildren. So we always knew that Israel was important to us. I am so proud that Israel has taken in 20,000 refugees from Ukraine, about 30 to 40% of whom are not Jewish. If Israel wasn't there, where would those 20,000 people go? You know, I'm very, very proud to be an American. I'm proud of how this community, the Dallas community, have adopted our family and have been amazing to us. But America increased our quota to 100,000. There's 8.5 or 9 million people in Israel. There's 350 million in the US, right? Israel's taken in 20% as many refugees as America has committed to. So let's hear it for the Light to Nations. I'm Yisrael Chai. My second memory of philanthropy was in the Yom Kippur War. Now, being Orthodox in South Africa was being different, a bit different than being Orthodox in the US. So we would go to services. There weren't seats for the kids. I was 1 year away from my bar mitzvah. We didn't really have seats. The overflow service wasn't really where you went. So we would stand outside. We would go stand, and they'd kick us out because there wasn't really room in the synagogue for us. But in 1973, it was different. Israel was attacked, and we were surprised. And I remember being in the synagogue. They told the kids we can all come in, and we raised money. And I remember the person who was there to raise the money for the Zionist Federation, it was called, told us that we're raising money to ensure Israel's survival. And my father was a periodontist, prosthodontist. My mom worked incredibly hard. I'm fond of saying my mom worked as hard as anybody who had a job and never earned a penny, and she always worked on behalf of children. That's the only job she ever had. And I remember the big machas in the community, the business people standing up, and everyone made their donations. And that inspired me to want to one day be able to help Israel. That inspired me one day to also be able to make sure that Israel was there for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. So that's just something that I can think about. And to work with JNF to receive this award, and to especially, I am honestly, sincerely so humbled by the support, the overwhelming support from all of you, the amount of money we've raised for these 4 wonderful causes, the beneficiaries who I hope will know of the good works that were done here in Philadelphia tonight on their behalf, is a great, great honor. My kids, thank you so much. AmerisourceBergen, our foundation did not say that this is a cause they should support. Our foundation, I'm very proud of. We are supporting health care in diseases that we serve, that pharmaceuticals for. And we're a mature foundation, and how great that we were able to do this incredibly well with support from AmerisourceBergen, but not necessarily from our foundation. So I'm very, very proud of that as well. Aaron, you've been remarkable. You have been like a dog with a bone. You've raised so much money for JNF on your own, so thank you very much. Marina and Sam, you've been awesome. Marina, I can tell you the AmerisourceBergen people said, Steve, with all the other honors you've received, and you know, there's not that many, Richie and Billy, by the way, these are the best people to work with, the most wonderful people. So my kids, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud that you're giving back. Anna and Corey, Olivia, we miss you so much. My father, Julian, my sisters, Andy and Lindsay, and my brother-in-laws, and all my family in Canada. This one's for you. Thank you for providing me with the Don Julio. I am just so honored and so appreciative to everybody. I hope I didn't leave anyone out. Thank you to all the wonderful sponsors, the people who did so much. Raj, get off your phone so I can say thank you to you. Rich Gottlieb and Andrea, you're the mentors of all mentors. Dale and Jackie, our special sponsors, Billy and Paula, everybody else. We heard today about some more donations. We got calls on the way over here. I don't want to leave anyone out. Every gift of yours is meaningful. Everybody contributes in their own way. My friend Brian, who came here from London, friends from Dallas, Andrew and Cassie, Raj and Padma, who always support everything we do. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't leave anyone out, but just know that I'm grateful and appreciative to all of you, our friends in the community, people like Ian Y, Hardrick and Struggles, our lawyer friends, so many of you. I don't want to leave anyone out. Thank you so much for your support. God bless you all. Thank you. Oh, Hal and Andy Waldman from Pittsburgh. Waldman, Pittsburgh. Rob Cathell, you're a beautiful boy. Thank you.
Climbing up on Salisbury Hill, I could see the city light. Wind was blowing, time stood still. Eagle flew out of the night. He was something to observe. Came in close, I heard a voice, standing, stretching every nerve. I had to listen, had no choice. I did not believe the information. Just had to trust imagination. My heart going boom, boom, boom. Son, he said, grab your things, I'm gonna take you home. Yeah, don't quit.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming tonight.